Hello there, dear friends. WhatCulture Wrestling's Adam Clery here, back again for another episode of the show I am now calling Why Are Only 750,000 People Watching the Best Wrestling Show in the World? I know, as ever, I promise you a tedious ratings discourse-free zone here on Ups and Downs, so instead we're going to focus on all the action taking place right here in Full Sail, well, not right, I mean Gateshead, but you know what I mean, like in Full Sail University. And my God, what a bumper week it was. We are now only a month away from the first takeover of the NXT on TV era, and the groundwork is starting to get laid for what is going to happen at that show. New faces emerge, rivalries are both sparked and renewed, and allegiances and all that other stuff. It's all finally happening, and it's all leading to that one show. But before we get there, where would it go tonight? You know the drill, of course. By now I go through every single segment on the show, and I give the good bits an up, and I give the bad bits a down, and the bits that are neither good nor bad, they get neither up nor down. So with that in mind, my name is Adam Clery, and these are all the ups and downs for this week's NXT. Right, so first off, hashtag on Thursdays, we wear yellow, and we kicked off this week with another barnstorming match in the women's division. Cast your minds back all the way to that first episode, and we had Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, and Io Shirai kicking off this era of NXT on TV. And the women's division has, from there, gone on and on and on to strength to strength to strength. The match itself is, of course, 1000% worth your time. It's really clever what they did, actually, because they build Belair as having much better technique, and then Ripley as having much more power. But in the opening exchanges of the match, it was basically Belair showing her power and Ripley showing her technique. I love that. There's a load of tests of strength and really clever reversals, but the absolute best bit by a mile, right? So you got Ripley running off the ropes, Belair jumps over the first time, then Ripley comes back off the ropes, and Belair tries to jump over again, but instead Ripley just boots her clean out of the air, and lots of back and forth. This one could easily have gone either way, but in the end, Ripley hit the rip tide, or the rip cord, or the rip whatever it's called, for the win, and she now looks to be the number one contender for Shayna Baszler's title, even though they didn't officially say it was a number one contenders match. Thing is, right, this division is doing so well at the minute that it didn't even feel like they were screwing us out of a finish when both Shirai and LeRae interfered in the end of the match. Shirai comes down and she boots Ripley in the face, throws her back in the ring. Belair gets a 2 count, then from there she recovers, hits the rip tide, or the rip cord, or the rip whatever it's called, for the win, and she, Rhea Ripley, now looks like being the number one contender for Shayna Baszler, even though they didn't officially say it was a number one contenders match. And given how much of a heel Ripley has come off as since her introduction to NXT, it was really cool to see how down the middle the crowd actually were for this match, and the size of the pop she got when she won. Honestly, this division, the women's division in NXT, is the hottest thing in WWE right now. I swear down. And also swear up. We go backstage now, or rather outside to be honest, and Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate are walking around like two... The only way I can think to describe them, right, is two lads in their late 20s who've gone to a student night because they think it's going to be full of easy tale, but when they get there they realise that A, nobody wants to talk to them, and B, they're comically overdressed anyway, so they've left quite quickly in a bit of a huff and are just sort of walking home talking about how uptight all these bitches are. Anyway, that wasn't even the most awkward thing about it, because you had Tyler Bate going, "Boy, hit you low," and then Pete Dunne being like, "I don't care about Killian Dain," and please, my God, I beg, please, 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 just let Pete Dunne do his talking in the ring forever down. Next up, Tommaso Ciampa gets his long-awaited Road to Recovery promo package, and the thing about this, right, is it's not telling us anything we don't know about how hard he had to work to come back from injury, or even how bad the injury was, or how much he wants to make it in NXT again, but it's so well executed and added so many new, layers or new levels, dimensions, new onions to this man's character that it's really good, and I'm giving it an up, if only because now he doesn't just come across as a man who wants to shag a belt. Next up, my God, some actual wrestling, and Matt Riddle takes on Cameron Grimes in a match that felt very exciting and very interesting and very intriguing. And if you only watch the main roster and you're wondering how that can be true, then I will explain thusly with science mode. Alright, so Matt Riddle and Cameron Grimes, much like Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley before them, have been winning wrestling matches, not cutting really janky, hokey promos backstage where they lose all control over their character and just come off as really, really lame, but winning wrestling matches and looking like really good wrestlers in the prospect. Thus, when good wrestler A meets good wrestler B and they're both carrying momentum, you get interest and intrigue. Riddle is the favourite here, yes, but Grimes has been springing surprise upsets, so both of these things are on the same path, but only one can continue the way it's going, and it makes you wonder, who will that be? And thus, when they do loads and loads of near falls one after the other, you buy into the idea that one of them could win the match, because Riddle does hit hard and pin his opponents, but Grimes can spring you out of absolutely nowhere. So you've got a stomp and a 1-2 no, and then a jackhammer and a 1-2 no, and a German suplex 1-2 no, and another German suplex and 1-2 no, and then a float bro thing and 1-2 no, and then it's still like, yes, I'm into this. Final Flash doesn't get it. Spanish Fly doesn't get it, but finally Riddle hits the bro Derek and gets the 1-2-3, and amazingly, Grimes looks really good in defeat because he went to the next level against somebody of Riddle's caliber, took him to his limit, and still came out looking good despite the fact he lost. So this is, of course, a giant up because this is how you book momentum and layers of a division. Like, first off, I was out of breath just watching this match, but if you heard me say the word jackhammer there and you were like, wait, like Goldberg's move? Yes, like Goldberg's move, and the crowd were chanting, Riddle, just give us this match. Give us Riddle versus Goldberg. If it's great, then it's great. And if it's a disaster, then it's still great. Give us it. Well, would you looky here? It's authority figure William Regal about to book a logical and interesting match that follows on from the events of last week and leads us nicely into the events of next week. And yet, lo and behold, he's not going to make this segment about him at all. Isn't that a revolutionary way to be a general manager? Next up, another match, and Breezango and Swerve taking on the Forgotten Sons. And I'll be honest, my expectations for this were quite low, if I'm honest. Breezango have been very hit and miss so far, and the Forgotten Sons have been... I forget. But hands up, credit where it is due. This match was hard-hitting in all the parts it needed to be hard-hitting. It was smooth in all the parts it needed to be smooth, and it was still interesting pretty much all the way through. Plus, by giving Swerve the win, he got Riker with his big kick in his heat and pinned him 1-2-3. It makes him, the junior member of the match, look like the biggest deal. So yeah, good work all around there because Breezango steadied the ship after a few ropey in-ring incidents. Swerve comes out looking like a star, and the Forgotten Sons do look scary even though they got beat. So yeah, well done. This next bit's so lame. This is so lame. Right, first of all, I want to clarify, as both a human being and a performer, I adore Killian Dain. He is a lovely, lovely, lovely man who has lovely, lovely, lovely good wrestling matches from time to time. However, he is stood outside next to a flaming oil drum because he's scary, or he's a Prohibition-era bum, or a witch.
Pete Dunne, last week you tried to break my fingers. Now I will break you.
Oh yes, you are absolutely correct. That is one of the lamest things you've ever heard. But speaking once again, with both my science brain on and the fact that I've played in goal pretty much my entire life and broken every single finger on these fair hands for except, I think, this thumb, I can tell you that ain't how you wrap broken fingers. You need to give them a little room to breathe or a little bit of room to move, otherwise they'll set wrong. You don't need to wrap them 10 times with the same bandage, which is made of kindling, while you're stood next to an open flame. Killian, down. Moving swiftly on from all of that, next up we had a quick match between Kurt Angle Garcia and Jack Gallagher, which had not only Leo Rush on commentary, which was good, but massive 205 Live vibes about the whole thing, and I am delighted they are integrating it this well. The match, though, was extremely... for me, I wasn't really quite sure about it, because on the one hand, it did exactly what it needed to do, and that was make me want to watch Garza versus Rush for about 15 minutes whenever they get around to doing that, but in the process, it really did feel like it squashed Gallagher a bit. Like, he got his stuff in at the start, but after that, he got steamrolled. Absolutely steamrolled. I don't think you should bury someone who's that well established in the division just to set up one match. So I'm going to give the match a down. And from bad to better, if slightly complicated, as we had the match that William Regal set up earlier in the evening. The team of Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox, or Team Kick as they're better known, versus Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir, or I can't believe it's not Baszler, I'm calling them. And this is where it gets quite complicated, because the match itself was very, very average. Like, just look at the raw ingredients in it. Shafir and Duke are new, they are getting better all the time, but they're nowhere near ready to carry a TV match. Tegan Nox is excellent. She is coming off the back of a very serious injury, which leaves you with Dakota Kai, who is good, yes, but not good enough. She's going to carry 3 other people through a televised tag team match. So it was all a bit it was well laid out, but it was a bit messy. So I'm going to give the match itself a down, because it didn't feel like the kind of spectacle that warranted the winners going on to face somebody on the main roster. But I am also going to give it an up, because the winners of that match will go on to face somebody from the main roster. They get a tag team title shot, women's tag team title shot, against Kairi Sane and Asuka. And the reason that gets an up is because it is them finally delivering on this promise of defending those belts on every single brand. And that is, we've said it before, wonderful, interconnected, shared universe storytelling. I feel like NXT is part of WWE, and I don't feel like it's a weird developmental brand, because they get to fight them and they might win. They won't, but they might. It's all a bit convoluted, yes, but basically the execution of the whole thing gets a down, but the premise of it's so good it gets an up, and they're so separate I do what I want. And from good but a bit complicated to excellent, no strings attached whatsoever. Long-term viewers now will know that every single week I pull one match from NXT and refuse to spell out what happened in it, because you should really go and watch it yourself, and me using both my mouth and just my limbs will not quite do that justice. I will do a little bit of scene setting for you though, because last week we had what was supposed to be the blow-off match between Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic, and Roderick Strong interfered, which gave us this match. And that was fine, because that didn't feel like the blow-off match at the time, so you need to keep that feud running, but also Roderick Strong gives a whole new element to it, and thus the way they laid this out, which is those two trying to keep their feud going while just battering the tiny, by comparison, Roderick Strong, was really funny. Not only could he not hang with them, he couldn't even get in the ring with them. And I mean, genuinely, legit, please just go and watch this match for yourself, because there are so many brilliant moments, I cannot adequately relate them to you now, and even if I try, they will be nowhere near as good as if you just watch it. I said it last week, run yourself a nice bath, light a candle, put this match on, let it have its way with you from bumhole to breakfast. I do have to talk about the end though, so just cover your ears for 5 seconds if you don't want to know what happens. The two of them are battering each other, the big lads, and then at the very last second, Roderick Strong steams in, bang, Keith Lee on the chops and pins him 1, 2, 3. It got them both over as these huge, terrifying monsters who still need to continue this feud, but it got Strong over as just being miles ahead of them up here. Up. And from there, here we go. This is the moment you've all been waiting for, the moment that has set the internet's hearts and mind aflutter. Finn Balor's heel turn. I will explain thusly. Alright, so here you go. The Undisputed Era have triumphed yet again. Roderick Strong has beaten 2 men he should not be able to hang in the ring with. He's found a way, because they always do. Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. They join him in the ring. They kick the other two a little bit, and they're like, yes, we're so amazing. Back pat, back pat, back pat. Suck off, suck off, suck off. But then, Tommaso Ciampa's music hits. He walks down the ramp into the ring. The chants of Daddy's Home begin. Huge, huge pop. And then Johnny Gargano's music hits. He walks down the ramp, gets into the ring. Chants of DIY begin. Huge, huge, huge pop. And then, Finn Balor's music hits. He walks down the ramp. He gets in the ring in the middle of Ciampa and Gargano. Chants of NXT fill the arena. Huge, 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 huge pop. And then, just as they're about to go at it, the 3 versus the 4, the thing we've all been waiting for. Finn Balor, Pele kicks Johnny Gargano right in the moi. The 4 Undisputed lads set about Ciampa and absolutely pulverise him. Balor takes Gargano at the outside, drop kicks him through a barrier, then hits a bloody Sunday on him on the ramp, stands at the very top next to the screen and gives it the Bullet Club fingers. He said that his past was about to become his future. We all assumed he meant NXT, but he meant Bullet Club. He said that his past was going to be his future, and we all assumed he just meant NXT, but he didn't, did he? He meant that part of his past, back when he was the most vicious, brutal heel in all of wrestling in New Japan for Jesus, the better part of 18 months, 2 years or something. He hit his old finisher. He did his old taunts. He is that old man again. It's the best bit of booking they've done. It is the storyline we have been craving. It's the thing that's going to make NXT this fully well-rounded product. The show that's giving us the best wrestling has now become the best wrestling show. And I give this segment not only an up, but I don it with the first ever yellow jacket. That's like a golden up, but mine. Honestly, this was an absolutely tremendous episode of TV, and I know the other show had a really good episode of television, but I just think NXT is so good at the minute, and I know I present this, and I've kind of got to say it, I've got to be positive about it, but genuinely, objectively, I don't think anywhere's doing 2 hours of television for professional wrestling like NXT is right now, and I can't understand why only 750,000 odd people are watching it. Everyone else is lost, I guess, but let us know what you made of it all. Bang, get it in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I have, of course, been Adam Clery on Thursdays. We wear yellow, and I'll see you soon.